Om. Sairam, everyone. Just to revise what we discussed last week before proceeding, Swami is talking to us about cultivating ekagrata or one-pointedness. It says that ekagrata should be developed in such a way that there should not be any hole through which what we gain will be slipping out. He also said that we should not run after the mind and we should wait for it to come back. And that's the way to cultivate ekagrata. He also went on to say that we should not dwell on what is pure, what is impure while doing meditation. Because meditation is, and the Lord is beyond purity and impurity. And he said we should choose the appropriate name for the form, appropriate form for the name which we've chosen and meditate on. And so these were some of the highlights of what we discussed last week. And so I will ask the sisters to proceed this week.
Sairam, do not reject him, cultivate love for him. Cultivate love, prema, for the Lord. It has infinite potentiality. An iron chain can be broken with ease, but not the chain of love that binds you to the Lord. The cruelest of animals is also overpowered by love. This is the illusion, Maya, of the Lord. If only the flood waters of this love were directed not to the lakes and shores on the sides of the river, but to the ocean of Lord's grace, what a holy task it would be. Then the individual, Jivi, would realize the purpose of love. This is the highest liberation, moksha, to direct that love on the name and the form of the Lord without interruption. That is real meditation. Do not mistake this temporary abode as your eternal dwelling place. Do not lose heart at transient troubles and short lived tragedies. Immerse yourself in the effort to attain the eternal Lord. Everything in this world is subject to decay. If not today, at least tomorrow it's bound to dismantle, right? Disintegrate, right? It's not right to reject the Lord, who is eternally related to you, and be misled by this world with which one is related for just 2 days, as already written.
Yeah, Saira, but the line must be read, I think. As already written, at least the two blue lines, yeah.
Yeah. The relatives come up to the outer gate, or maybe up to the burial ground, but your real relative is the Lord. Beware.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, sister. So as Swami is telling that our love should be directed towards the Lord, and he's also warning us that we should not give up our practice if some worldly tragedy strikes us, because what is related to the world is temporary, whereas our relationship with the Lord is it's beyond this life itself, and it comes along with us. So those are some of the points which Swami is highlighting for us. So I will open it up for the discussion. Please, any participant, you can share your thoughts, impressions, questions.
Can I just ask a question? In the first paragraph, Swami is saying, this is the illusion, Maya of the Lord. What is he referring to there?
I think I'll open it up for discussion. It's a good question. I wasn't paying much.
Sairam, we have to interpret it as the magical power of the Lord. The Lord's powers are magical, no? So that word, the magical, maybe brother check with the Telugu, but as it is, the Lord's power is very magical. So, magical power of the Lord. Even the cruelest of animals like lion can be overpowered by love. So it is very, the God's the love is very, it can do so many miracles like. So it is put as illusion of the Lord because it can do anything that it has to do. I think, Saira.
Sairam, I think what Swami trying to say here is the cruelest animal. That quality also is an illusion. So that only can be overcome by the love. This is what my understanding is. Thank you.
And I think it, like, yes, it's right, but I think it's mostly he's trying to say love is very strong. You can break an iron chain, but you cannot break the bond of love. So that is the illusion. Love looks very, like, it doesn't look as strong as you would see an iron chain is, but the iron chain you can break, but not love. So that's how I see it, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
The attachment that we have towards our own people and to the materialistic world outside is an illusion. That's what Swami thinking. Yeah, Sairam.
So Sairam brother, whatever brother Sivada said, we can train that tiger or lion to love us, because that means we cannot go and hug all the lions. He will kill you. So it's all kind of Maya. So you have to understand that inner meaning, I think so. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please? I think Swami is just reading the lines again. The cruelest animal is the illusion, I think Swami is referring to. I think others have also shared similar thought. I don't know, Kalyani, whether you were satisfied with the...
Yeah, I was just confused at first. When you first read it, it seems like Swami's referring to love being the illusion, but I don't think that could be right. So that makes sense if the cruelest of animals, if that's the illusion, then...
Yes. Swami has used the word Dhanini Daiva Maya. Entire. It's not only just Maya, illusion of the Lord, so. Anyone else, any other thoughts? So I think I feel it's okay.
It's not that love itself is the illusion, right? Or that it's the Lord's love can be experienced only because of Maya.
I think animal is what Swami is. Animal is the Maya as well. Because Swami often uses that analogy that when someone wants to overcome Maya, Swami gives the story of not some sort of an allegory that if somebody wants to come and meet the occupant of our huge palace, or where the Lord resides, when we come to the gates, we find there's an animal, there's a dog which is not letting us in, which is Maya. And to overcome that, Swami, how do we overcome? So he says we have to call out to the occupant of the house. And when the occupant of the house comes, we can overcome the animal or the dog which is not letting us pass. So Swami has used that often. So I think, so the cruel animal is the Maya. So the cruelest of illusion is what I think Swami is referring to. Sai.
Sai Ram, I understand from the first passage, Swami is telling that love is much more powerful than any other thing. That's why he has brought all these examples, and already my understanding sister Narmada, she indicated that point that even the iron chain, we know how powerful, how strong, and no one can break it. But the love is much more powerful than, or the stronger than the other one. That sort of understanding I got it from this one. That is my view on this one. The love is much more powerful than any other thing. That's why Swami is telling that do not reject God, cultivate love for him. If we look at the title, subtitle, they have given it here, that indicates the powerful of the love. That sort of understanding I got it from this one. Maybe that the other, maybe examples and everything, maybe we may understand differently, but that's the essence of this, maybe the passage. Thank you, Sairam.
So, Sairam, brother, according to Sister Anandi's point and Sivada's point, so we had to cultivate the love with the Lord. So if you cultivate the love with other family members or other thing, it's going to be short time only. So in this life, or maybe next life, we have taken so many lives, we don't know, maybe 50, 60, 75, we don't know. All the life, God is the only one going to be with us. So develop the love with the God, and other love also, like, even if you can make that animal or lion to make to love, but that is not the correct one. It can kill you anytime too. That love is, you cannot compare with God's love. Thank you, Saira.
I also want to compliment to Brother Dasan's point. I think that's the reason Swami is mentioning on the other line, that if only the flood waters of this love were directed not to the lakes and shores. That's I think Swami is trying to say, like Brother Dasan saying, not to the relatives and friends. That is we are showing the love towards the friends, but that's not long lasting. Only the love that we are showing towards the God, that is an everlasting bliss that we can get. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, brother.
Hi, Ram. I was just wondering if Swami is also trying to say that the love we have for family members or friends is more like a conditional kind of love, while the love you have with the Lord is unconditional, omnipotent, and everlasting, like brother said. And because of its nature of being everlasting and unconditional, it's not just for 2 days, which the materialistic world is prone to be. Sairam.
Thank you very much, sister.
Sairam, I agree with that. Love is that important things to reach God. So Swami is embodiments of love. No, so we had to use God that the instruments we had to use that love only. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts? And there's one more thing I think I sort of took away. I think Swami is comparing our worldly relationships as the illusion also, because that is where they are the ones who become the obstacles, because if something happens around us and that takes us away from the Lord. So the cruelest of illusion is our attachment to everything in this world.
That's it. That's it.
That's what Swami is saying.
Yeah. Turn that attention towards the Lord, not towards your own people or to the external world. That's what I tried to mention at the beginning.
Yes.
Saira. Saira.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess just practically, does anyone have any strategies or tips to develop that love? I know Swami has already mentioned, I guess, doing japa, dhyana, all those things will help. But sometimes it's hard to feel loving, I guess, even like even towards people around you. And so, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there if anyone has anything to add.
Anyone would like to shed some light, because it's a very practical thing, you know. One thing is for us to discuss and say, you know, we should direct all our love towards the Lord. Then how do we work? How do we practically live in this world? So don't we love others around us? That's a question. I think very good question, sister. Yes, brother.
So my understanding is you have to love your parents, you have to love everyone. But you have to understand, when you have more love, more attached to this material world and his father, mother, they are in this life, and you don't know the previous life, who's your mother, or who's your husband, who's your kids. So can you remember them? No. So you do your duty with the love and more attached to the God. And so that's what dhyana and everything is very important. That when you're doing the dhyana and everything, is control the mind. Eventually, you'll produce the love. That is my understanding. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brothers. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts?
Saira.
Yes, brother.
Yes. You know, one time I was in the subway, I was reading Dhyana Vahini, the book. So I went into the book, and you know, I went to I love that, you know, by reading, I lost myself. And one of the drunk man came in the train and sat next to me and talk. I thought he talking to somebody else. So he got mad at me, and he stand up and to took the legs and about to kick me. I look at him with a calm mind. The people on the other side, they asked me to come this side. I stand there, and he spit on me too. But I didn't get angry as usual, angry person. And I supposed to, I wear the safety shoes. I supposed to kick him back to damage him. But I don't know what, then I realized that the book put me calm down. So that I didn't hate him. I don't know, I didn't like to hate him. I don't understand what happened to me that time. The story pulled me down. So that's the experience. I really understand how is the Swami's miracle, the books and everything works for our mind to calm down. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
In light of what that brother shared, I'm not sure how practical this is. One thing that Swami says to Kalyani, but I don't know, it's quite hard to practice as well. in order to cultivate that love, I think, if you see God in everyone, that's what Swami says, right? If you see the Atma, and in that sense, that will help you love everyone as well. And if you realize that Atma, I think you can also overcome that attachment that you would have with that person, but you would have with the Lord, which is the Atma that is living in everyone else. It's kind of abstract to think about, but I'm not sure how easy that is. It's not easy for me, but I'm just sharing that. That's something that's I've heard in everyone's, and based on what that brother shared too. Even in that drunk man, Swami was there, right? So if you see the Atma, then you won't get angry. You can calm down. So that's just a thought.
Thank you very much, sister. Any other thoughts, please?
Because, Sarah, because of the story of the Rasa Vahini, pulled me down very inside. So it doesn't let me to get angry. So be that's the Swami said the 9-point code of conduct. Follow Swami reading the books every day. We can automatically we start to not to hate the people. That means we are start loving the people, I guess.
Sairam, I hear all the loving points and everything towards this topic, but still there's an unanswered part for Sister Kalyani's question. We can control our anger, hatred, and those things. We can still, think about Swami in each and every one, and our action can be according to that one. But the underlying question from Sister Kalyani, I got it. Say for an example, how to divert the love, from our the loved ones towards the God. We can exactly surely we can love God and we can love our loved ones too. But how to reduce the love from our loved ones and to fully give the love towards the God? That is the underlying question in my mind. That's really difficult. You can reduce your anger, you can treat equally. Those things are easier to apply, but this one is really, really hard. But if someone has already experienced or someone has can shed some light towards this one, maybe that's my understanding, Sister Kalyani's question. But I know it's really difficult, but that's my is that your question, Sister Kalyani?
I believe that's part of it. So I didn't know. I think that's a great way that you have put that question.
Okay, thank you, sisters. So I will again open it up for anyone to comment.
So I think you don't want to reduce the love from others to share with God. I'm not sure if you can actually put measurement of love there, but I think one way is to see God and also not get attached. So there's a difference between love. I think there is difference in love and attachment. So if you don't have that attachment and see God, love, and if loving others, I don't think you are taking away the love from God. Or like expectation, love without expectations, or that's the way I would say. Like, if you love someone, if you're not, I don't think it's necessary to expect the love back from the other person. But yes, I agree, it's very hard. I don't think I have mastered it, so I cannot share that. But
so Sairam, brother, so if you do the work, everything without any attachment, so you think that you are doing God's work and surrender everything to the God and think about His glory and everything. So that love, that massive love, in this way you can develop with the God. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you.
Sairam, I think it's no. When we look at great devotees' lives, either it's beyond understanding, either how they got that love is so hard to explain. Only maybe you can just if one really have some experience or think the full conviction that his mere sheer existence and his everything and the source, everything is the Lord, then that automatically that love comes. That's the only thing you can say. Otherwise, it's in other words, what I'm trying to say is for that also, go by God's grace only you can get that love. That sort of thing I would say. But until then, we can practice Namasmarana, Java, Dhyana, Java Sagita, Rupa, Dhyana, and everything that might help us to draw God's grace. Then that grace will grant that love. That's what I would think, Sairam.
Sairam. Anyone else would like to share?
Sairam, until we lived in the world, we had to love each and everyone with the same love to the God, the same love to God too, no? So we must always think about God at the same time. We don't have to only stay in the world. We had to look in the God, always in the mind should be in the God. The saying that one hand in the works and the other thinking of the forest. That Swami says that we can be in the world, but our thinking always with the God. That is the main thing we have to think about. The same, we have to love everyone the same love. We have nothing separation that there's this love is better, other love is better. The same love we are sending to everybody, each and everybody. At the same time, we are always thinking about the God. That's the thing I can say. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother.
Sairam, I just heard about from a Sai student, Samarpan talk, and he was saying, Baba was telling him, love your mother more and more and more.
Yes.
Until you know that she is not your mother. That means you have to love your mother, no doubt. Love more and more until you know that she is not your mother. That means everyone is Atma. This mother is not, this mother is only in this birth. This mother, the real mother, Atma in her, in the previous births and the coming births, she will not be come to my connection. Everybody is Atma. So Baba very nicely said, until you know she is not your mother. So each and everyone is wholly Atma. We are not related in the previous births or in the past births and the coming births. So we have to use this Advaitic principle, which is Bhagavan is only saying that. So only one soul existing, one Brahman, one God, one Atman. And my practical life, I have to say that because some people are asking who have practiced any experience. No? So I had a strong attachment to my children or wife or children when they were very young. As they grow up, and when they have grown up as an adult, my attachment reduced. Only love existed. Only Then when they get married one by one, 2 children, so when the son got married, I was very much relieved from that attachment. And then when I got the daughter got married, I got fully freed. So then wife is not a problem for me because I never, it is same, it is not an issue for me. So, as the days go, because some people who are questioning are very young or middle-aged. So they will have difficulty with the attachment. So actually, some people don't like to discuss with Advaitam and Dvaitam and Visdadvaitam. Bhavan is always speaking Advaitam. Bhavan is saying only God is there, nothing else is there. So whether you see lion or elephant or ant or man or beast, black man or white man, is only God. So that is one principle that we have to realize and study and understand. One thing. Another thing is, another way of looking at is, only God is real, all else is unreal. The Baba is saying that also. That can be also applied. So when we think everything is unreal and only God is real, then naturally our love is towards God. So this is my experience. And because somebody asked, anybody can, from experience, can you tell? So that's what I am thinking and telling. But time will make them understand. But there are people, for example, I'm directly saying, let us take our brother Arno there. He had been with Bhagawan, and not only that, he had a special connection with Bhagawan. And he himself in his life, he himself told us in the other interviews, the children are trusty. And that they are trusty. He's the trustee of the children. So that is depends on the spiritual maturity and the spiritual inquiry the people undertake, and also the time will heal. It is different from person to person also. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, my thought in addition to Brother Sivadas is, when you think it's nothing yours, then it's all God's given to you, like that kind of mindset will allow you to have the right love towards the person, like that which we learned before also, love to the person. So that will come by itself, I think. When you think like that, it's nothing yours, kind of. Thank you, Sairam.
So Sairam, brother, so look like we all try to build all the buildings and everything top of the water bubble. It can break any time. So happiness and our sadness, all few years, but we have to think about the ultimate goal. So ultimate goal to reach to the God. So our love, we have to develop our love towards God more than other material things and other relationship. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. I think it's very... Anyone else would like to share any thoughts? Maybe I will also try add my few points, I guess. I think the question is, the thing is, what Swami is saying is, we have to develop love towards God. So I think, and Swami says, if you develop love, only that is called meditation. That's what Swami says. To direct that love onto the name and form of the Lord without interruption is real meditation. And I think one of the challenges we have is to understand, okay, how do we, if we love God, how can we get over the love over others? The reality is actually every one of us would have some time or other would have experienced this. We have to choose something. For example, if people are getting married, They were at home, they loved their mother, father, but then they have a spouse. And there are people who make a choice. They would go with the person who they loved and with whom they want to spend the rest of their life. Even though it's not that they have given up the love for their parents. It's not that they have given up the love for home. It is that they have put that love, the newfound love, over and above everything else. How did that happen? Each person has to ask themselves, how did that happen? Because they may have not even seen that person ever before. But suddenly the love sprouts and then it overpowers it so much that we are willing to give anything up and go. So every human being has that tendency and has that ability. The biggest problem for us is God is so impersonal. He's in a picture or some story, and we are unable to connect that and develop that relationship. And that is why Swami says, Namasmarana and Japa help us reach that point. Or looking at somebody else's, another devotee, and see how they have dealt with it. Because the reality here is, Swami says, the love towards God should not be affected by any other love. See, it's like, we have family and we still love our parents, but if you like a person, spouse, we are willing to, it's not that we have given up that love. It is just that we have an order of priority and we have put that love above. So I think Swami expects us to do the same thing with the Lord. We put the love for the Lord above everything, and all great devotees have been tested. As Swami says, Meera was asked. Meera didn't know what to do because at home it was becoming hell. And she wrote a letter to Tulsidas and asked, oh, Swami, what can I do in this situation? Then he writes back saying, no one comes between you and the Lord. And then she leaves home. So the thing is, sometimes God also tests. Every devotee has been tested. Bharata was tested. Prahlada was tested, Swami says. So when that test comes, it is not to damage anything, but to prove to our own selves what is the extent of love we have for the Lord. So I think we have developed the love for God, and we have to hold on to it tight, and we have to make it better. And I think meditation is supposed to help us, because only if we devote, the more and more time we devote to the Lord, the more and more love we will develop with Him. It's my thought. I thought I will just share, Saira. I don't know, Kalyani, whether you're okay, you have something got to.
Yes, thank you. Thank you everyone for all the answers.
But I think of course we have talked, but I think we can think about it and contemplate, and all of us have to come up with our own approach to cultivate it. Sai, thank you.
Sairam, yeah. For us, Swami give us very, very simple method. Everyone talk about it, the Samaskarana and love all, serve all. The simple thing, even though we are study all Vaginis and everything, Vedas, Upanishads, all the translations, it's like in our says, like we say in Matuvandil, when we go and reach one place to one place, Swami give us electrical, electric car like that, Namasparana and every simple tools. We don't have to go like think about the traveling by Matuvandil like that. We don't have to think so many studies and memorizing and translating. Simple tools we can follow. Like that's a very simple thing Swami gave us. We don't have to think too much. This is a very easy way to reach God. Swami give us all the things. Sairam.
Thank you very much, sister. Maybe we can move on, Sister Kalyani. Mr. Amada will read, I guess.
The Lord will never give you up. Considering the number of you have had countless mothers, fathers, wives, husbands, sons, daughters, friends, and enemies. Do they subsist today? Do they remember the relationship? You are no one to them, and they are nobodies to you. But you and they have the Lord in common as unchanging relative. He subsists throughout all the births. He is eternal. He watches over you from birth to birth. What greater tragedy can there be than forgetting such a Lord? With the senses weakened and powerless and refusing to function, with the parents, wife, children, and relations all crowding on one side, and the messengers of death compelling you to pack up for the journey without delay on the other, who knows when this call will come and how? Before that moment comes, be ready with the thought of God.
Thank you very much, sister. So Swami is telling, don't delay. The earlier you get sorted out, the better. The bags have to be packed up and kept ready anytime to go. So the urgency, I think, is what Swami is saying, highlighting here. I will open it up for anyone to comment, please, Ira.
Sairam, we do our work, all the works, this is all God's work. No, that's not our work. It's offered to God, everything. They do it that way. There's no attachment with the world or our relationship. That way we can win the God's grace, and we are always with the God, attached to God, and do the God's work. That way we are always remembering God. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share?
Sairam, brother. So this is again the people's. Sorry to say that it depends on the age also. See, so completely young people cannot think of death now. So they even though they read it, usually they cannot take it serious. So and we know in the Mahabharata the sub stories that Udishthira or the Dharmaraja, when they were in the forest, out of thirst, when the brothers, he sent the brothers one by one to go for water, and nobody returned. And when he went to the pond, and Yaksha, actually the Yamadharmaraja in the form of Yaksha was hiding, and when he was about to drink the water, he said, "Stop. If you can answer my question, you can drink the water." So, okay, asking. So hundreds of questions it was asked, and what do you think about the wonder of the world? The wonder of the world is when death takes place in the neighborhood, or within his home, or in that society, but the man thinks that he will never die. So such a revelation, and the Yaksa was pleased and asked him to drink the water, and also gave the boon, and everybody got up later. That's okay. So the death can knock at any time, and if we know the truth, only when we know the truth that okay, death is next to me, and only at the time we realize that the evanescent nature of this our surroundings, whether wife or children or grandchildren or neighbors or whoever it is, then our love is focused on Lord. So that's what Bhagawan used to say. They always remember two things: death and God. So that is what the truth is. But it depends on the people to take how serious it is. Thank you, Saira.
Saira. Okay, go ahead.
So Saram brother, I like this one. What greater tragedy can there be than forgetting such a Lord? That we know because of the karma, this our life is, even this body is karma. So even though the God has given us a good lifestyle, or maybe He gave us to live in Canada, all kind of facilities to think about. Not only that, He put us so the path, His path, teaching and everything, including study circle, Sai Center, or He's making us to walk on His path. So when you think about those kind of things, so then we'll get the love, we get the tear from us that is showing our love towards God. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, brother. Any other, Sister Ambika?
Sai Ram, I think I will disagree on the age and the people and the thing mind. You know, the previous, I think 2 weeks ago, Brother Aruno had that bhajan thing and explanation and everything. The children and the younger generation, they are talking about understanding the God and everything very clearly and very understanding. They are very matured, including my children. When I talk in the study circle and everything, sometimes they will explain to me like what they talk and think. Very simple way they understand and think. Even one of the story we heard, Dasan told us, like think Arjuna and Krishna, the conversation, who is the devoted God, then the story started like a king and wife, then they have to kill the children and cut the children and devoted to Krishna. That time the eyes drop. Yeah, the children doesn't have to cry or something. The left eye or something is the eye drops comes. The child was saying, "Why you are crying?" I said, "I devoted to Krishna all this life, but he only liked the right side." This I think depends on the thing, previous thing, and some of them, when we see the Nayan Mare story, the Sambandha is very small age. He started singing. I think depends on our karma and the thing, previous thing, everything comes together. It's like nothing is age. Everyone can reach. I think that is my opinion, Saira.
Saira, sister. Any other thought, please? Sister Anand, you have to unmute yourself.
Sairam, after I looked at closely these two passages, I just thought about, even though this is a great truth, the truth, it doesn't great or the small or anything, but this is the ultimate truth. But very seldom we realize the truth. And even the Lord, Lord wants to play with us as toys, maybe I just thought about, all these, this is the ultimate truth and we all know, but, very seldom we practice this one. And even the Lord, I thought, even the Lord, he wants to play with us, as little toys, you go wherever you want, whenever, I need, I will just take you, even if you middle of something or in the infancy or in the young age or in the middle age, old age, whenever I want, I will just take it, I just thought about that, sometimes the Lord, plays with us, and but still we don't realize, the ultimate truth. Thank you, Saira.
Saira, I just want to add to that also, because you don't have an age. This is the day you are going to die. So when Swami says something that we all have to remember, Swami's message always is one for everyone, even our children or adults or youth. So once Swami says that is, everyone has to remember that, the Lord name, then we have to remember the Swami's teachings and everything. That's my thought on this. Thank you, Saira.
Sai Ram, sister. Any other thought, please? I think it was well discussed. All angles were covered, I guess. As Anand says, for God, we are all toys. It's just like, a child, plays in the backyard, in the evening, and along with the friends, and the mother will say, it's 6 o'clock, now you have to come back in. And the mother or father will go and call, and the child will say, no, just give us a little more time. And they will think the parent is not understanding. That's our lot. But I think when the mother or father call, they know why they are calling. So I think with those thoughts, we can move on to the next slide, if it's okay.
Spiritual development. There are 3 stages of spiritual development. First, the hazy, uncertain stage, then the active stage of striving, and last, the highest stage. These are the stages of passivity, tamas, activity, rajas, and purity, sattva. When growing out of first stage into the second, it is unnatural for a person not to improve step by step. 3 stages of growth. The period from childhood to adolescence need not be seriously taken into account. One need not to worry much about it. With the dawn of adolescence, one enters upon the first hazy, uncertain stage and engages in many fruitless activities. Later, one attains ripeness and strength. This is the stage between uncertain and the certain. It is when one has reached this intermediate stage that one must yearn for the fulfillment that is possible in the final stage. In the rules of penance, at first, ritual worship, puja, is associated with divine energy, Shakti, and the subsequent stage of worship is connected with Siva. That is to say, the period when one is under the care of the mother is over, and the period of paternal care, the protection of renovator and guardian of the universe, Siva, is reached. When the stage of paternal care is come, one should not soil the body and mind, as during the period of maternal care.
Can you sister, I think, there was some connectivity issue. I don't know whether it was only me or...
Yeah, it wasn't clear in me to chop off or cut off, kind of, yeah.
Should I read it? Sorry, I'm not sure if it's my network.
Yeah, possibly. Please read again.
Okay, I'll start from the beginning then. The spiritual development. There are 3 stages of spiritual development. First, the hazy, uncertain stage, then the active stage of striving, and the last, the highest stage. These are the stages of passivity, tamas, activity, rajas, and purity, sattva. When growing out of the first stage into the second, it is unnatural for a person not to improve step by step. 3 stages of growth. The period from childhood to adolescence need not be seriously taken into account. One need not worry much about it. With the dawn of adolescence, one enters upon the first hazy, uncertain stage and engages in many fruitless activities. Later, one attains ripeness and strength. This is the stage between the uncertain and the certain. It is when one has reached this intermediate stage that one must yearn for the fulfillment that is possible in the final stage. In the rules for penance, tapas, this law is also observed. At first, ritual worship, puja, is associated with divine energy, Shakti, and the subsequent stage of worship is connected with Siva. That is to say, the period when one is under the care of the mother is over, and the period of paternal care, the protection of the renovator and the guardian of the universe, Siva, is reached. When the stage of paternal care is come, one should not soil the body and mind as during the period of maternal care.
Thank you very much, sister. So we were talking about childhood, age, and all that, and it seems to be, I don't know whether it's a coincidence. So Swami is talking about age here again. And I think Swami always talks about the age of, the age which in the spiritual growth, the age is not biological. It is the age of the soul which travels across many births and lives. So I think Swami is also classifying, the level of growth where we are can be estimated by ourselves, whether we are in the maternal care stage or whether we are in the paternal care stage. So I will, with those words, I will stop here, and I will open it up for others to share their thoughts, please. Sai.
Sai Ram, you already explained that's, the worldly life age and the spiritual life. Yeah, all our soul age, Sai Ram.
Can I just ask a question about the first paragraph? When outgrowing the first stage into the second, it is unnatural for a person not to improve step by step. So I guess Swami saying from the tamas to the rajas stage, we will naturally improve. So does that mean from rajas to sattva, if we're going from the second to the third stage, then that improvement is not for certain? Or I wonder what he means by that sentence there.
Okay, I will open it up for others to share their thoughts. It's a very good question. Sai Ram, anyone can comment on this, please?
Brother, you better check this one, Telugu, for this line.
Okay, I'll ask Auntie whether.
Yeah, me too. That's something different.
Yes, Mani Auntie. I think Mani Auntie seems to have dropped out, so I will just read. మొదటిదైన అపష్ట దశ నుండి మధ్య దశకు పోవునప్పుడు క్రమముగా మానవుడు అభివృద్ధికి రానట్టు. So what Swami is saying is, from the first stage to the second stage, when we go, we don't progress step by step. That transition doesn't happen on a stage by stage in a very methodical step by step way. When the transition from the first stage into the second stage. But once you go into the second stage, I think it sort of agrees with the last sentence of Swami, where he says, the maternal care, there is dirt and this and that. It's how a child develops from that into adolescence. The child is not, it's not a very systematic, because the buddhi itself is not developed that well. The child will, learn something, then it will forget something, then it will do something. But you cannot see a very steady progress, is my understanding. Again, unfortunately, Mani Auntie is not there too, right? And Sister Anandi, you were saying something.
Yeah, I thought about in the without looking maybe the second or third. When I look at just the first paragraph, I thought about say for an example, Brother Aruno previously couple of times he indicated some people even from the brahmacharya stage straight into sannyasa. Some they will go from the brahmacharya, illara, and then vanaprastha, and then go to the sannyasa. So that sort of meaning is here, not to go by step, but it could happen at any stage. that sort of understanding, I got it from the here. It is unnatural for a person not to improve step by step. It could maybe they can pass the second step, they can go to the third, or they can pass second and third, they can go from one step to the fourth step, first step to the fourth step. That sort of understanding, I got it from the the passage one.
If I were to just take out the double negative there, because it says it's unnatural for a person not to improve. So if we were to rephrase that, is it saying it is natural for a person to improve step by step?
Yes, yes, yes.
Look at the double negative. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
But Sairam, in that case, you are saying that the person will grow from tamas to rajas to sattvic. That's the natural. That's what when you take it out, the one negative part of it is natural for a person to improve step by step. So it's one step by step is goes right. So you don't agree when the tamas person move to sattvic, skipping that rajas.
Yeah, but here they are saying about first stage to second. So from tamasic to rajas, when you remove the double negatives, it says it is natural for a person to improve step by step.
Not to improve.
Yeah, but no. But you said in Telugu not to improve like that. But
no, so Swami says, Vaadu tappakunda asahaja sthitiya dunnatlu telisikondu. Because you will understand that you are not in a natural state. That's what it says.
Yeah, that's a correct thing. But here the language got confused, no?
Yes. That's why I wanted to. So basically, what Swami is saying is when you're moving from first stage to second stage, so what happens from what I understand, brother, is we will 2 days we will do some meditation and then we give it up. Then we will go and do something and then give it up. It's like a child. It's like a child's play. We sort of play with various sadhanas. You find something and then one day you will come home and then for a few days you will pursue that sadhana. Then you will give that up. Then you will do something else. So what happens is there's no gradual step by step steady progress when the tamas to rajas goes in. But once you go into the rajas state, there you will become steadier in your progress. I think
correct. That is correct, brother. But here they would have put a not here.
It is unnatural for a person to improve step by step.
Yeah, it is not unnatural for a person not to improve.
The second, the not should be removed, brother. Then it's okay.
Otherwise, they remove that not. Yeah, either way. Yeah.
Swami doesn't have the second not. Swami has used the word asahaja, so which is unnatural. But they have again used the not, which complicates the matters.
So, Sairam, brother, whatever you said, I think Swami is talking about childhood and adults. So, childhood, whatever you mentioned, is not to improve step by step. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, maybe what Swami is trying to say is in a spiritual aspirant's progress, sadhana, the first part or the early part is the he or she try all sort of different sadhanas and in a sort of adventurous way. So it's not a steady progress. It's like so. But once that stage is passed, then each individual or aspirant finds out what is his path, and then it's sort of
steady.
From that point it'll be a steady progress. That's what it's trying to say, I guess.
Hi, Ram. Sorry, I was thinking that it's probably like the spiritual evolution of a person. And in this path of evolution and self-discovery and progress that you make, there is no finite period for a stage. This stage has ended now, and into this stage, there's no finite period. It's you evolve. As you evolve, you mature and you gain your spiritual maturity. I'm still hoping I will get some maturity. I will just share my own experience a little bit. My parents are Hindu and they are South Indian Brahmins. So when I grew up, even though I grew up outside South India, my parents tried to keep up with those rituals and those. My father used to do meditation and all. Because he was Brahmin, people would invite him to perform pujas, and they would make sure they fed him, because if you feed a Brahmin, you get punya and stuff like that. So I would love to go with my dad, enjoy all the importance my father got. He was very humble. I loved it. I used to go with my father. But just passively, I learned a lot of mantras and shlokas, and just listening to him and being around. Didn't understand anything much. And then when I went into medical school, I thought, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry. When I went into medical school and I saw that, especially early part of medical school, I thought everything is explained by science. So there was a period when I almost became an atheist. And I stopped believing in this other aspect till I came to the final years of medical school, and I saw that despite the best treatment, some patients were dying, and some patients whom we had said you'll be you're not going to live perhaps beyond 3 months, they were surviving. So when I saw these kind of things which were inexplicable by science alone, I started realizing there is more beyond this. There was more, and that's what the spirituality is about. And then, of course, life itself teaches you a lot of lessons. My father passed away very young, so being the oldest child, I had a lot of responsibilities on my head pretty early in life, and so on. All I'm saying is that, as one of the brothers mentioned, for some people it comes sooner, for some people it may come later, but it's all part of an evolution, and there's no sort of graduation from tamas and now enrollment into rajas, and it's not necessarily step by step. That's just how my interpretation is. And one question I had was the very last paragraph, when it says, when this stage of paternal care has come, one should not soil the body and mind as during the period of maternal care. I couldn't quite grasp that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sisters. Thanks for sharing that. Anyone would like to comment on what sister asked? If no one has, maybe I will. It's 4:38 anyway. I think everyone can think about it and come, I guess, next week to continue the discussion. But either I'll just share some thoughts. This actually, Swami is describing the same concepts in 3 different paragraphs here, with 3 different words, actually, if you look at it. The first stage is talking about tamas, rajas, and sattva, that it is not, it's not gradual. The second paragraph, he's saying, from childhood to adolescence, we engage in many fruitless activities. Again, the same thing is said, and then he says that we come to a stage which is more certain. Then the third paragraph is again saying, he's telling maternal care and paternal care. And he says, as Sister Vasudha said, the last sentence says, one should not soil the body and mind. So I think it is, if we are reading this, I think Swami says, okay, now all of you have come, you have read this. You have been, dabbling in your maternal care world in the childhood, adolescence. It's high time that you become at least a young adult. You have to, you can't just play around like a child anymore. Be a bit more responsible. And I think Swami wants us to take the spiritual development itself a bit more seriously. So Swami, in the second paragraph, he says, the period from childhood adolescence need not be seriously taken into account. But it's past, you will have dabbled in it, it's okay. I think it's a call to take it a bit more seriously. He says you cannot, play the fool anymore. You cannot just do it part-time. You need to work on steady and step progress. Seems to be a call from Swami is what I understand. I don't know whether I think everyone can think, and if anyone has something to say, please go ahead and say.
What Sister Vasudha asked is one should not soil the body and mind. What is that? That's what. But that is what her question.
I didn't answer that question because I would like to ask others to think about it and say, if anyone has something to say, please share.
Yeah, it looks like at maturity that body, mind loses its significance, and you are totally spiritual, total, absolute spiritual, and atmic. So in the earlier stage, the maternal care stage, okay, you do some yoga and body and mind also helping you. So when the paternal care comes, so you should have been by this time renounced the connection with the body and mind, totally absorbed in spirit. It could be like that.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else has something to say?
I guess, Sairam, what Swami says during the first stage, or when the care of the mother, even if someone soiled the body or mind, I mean, someone get himself dirty, the mother will take care of the child. Like that, in the early stage, it's sort of allowed of a spiritual aspirant. The first stage, early stage, it's sort of it's okay to try all sort of different things, and because of that, some impurity to gain some. But once that settled down into a second stage, as Brother Arno said, no more fooling, and we should be serious and focus on serious and steady progress, because we are in the paternal care, and so that's what Swami expects, I guess. Silent.
Thank you very much, brother.
The first paragraph says that the Rajas and Tamas, that all three gunas in us, that we don't have to wait for one by one to destroy that gunas. We had to start to destroy it all together. That only that Tama Rajas Saddik is there. That we had to go to the Saddik. We had to work with the Tamas and Rajas at the same time. So we don't have to wait one by one. No, that's I understand that. And Swami also that giving that spiritual teaching for the children from the small age, from there. Swami is not waiting for that until they get the age come to teach the spiritual teaching, teaching about the God. So we had to do that way. That I think that we had to process that way to the God that from all age, or there's no that different ages and levels, that we can start from the beginning, in the same way. Thank you, sir.
So Sairam, brother. So my understanding from Sakti stage to Shiva stage, when you come to the Shiva stage, you should clear all your bad qualities, ready for the meditation. So nothing going to be bother you, nothing going to be distract you. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, brother. Here we have to understand the paternal care of Shiva. It's a Shiva, worship is connected with Shiva. That part we have to clearly understand. Then only we will understand, we can, I think I maybe understand the one should not soil on body and mind later. So first, if we understand what is the stage of how to the connected with Shiva worship, then it will clear up the other ways. Thank you, Sairam. That's the subsequent part of that. The worship is connected with Shiva after Shakti. So what is the expectation there? Thank you.
Sairam, my understanding from this one, in the maternal care stage, say for an example, if it is a ground, you are going to seed something. First, weed out and make the soil better for the put the seed. So in the maternal care stage, you do all of those. And then the paternal stage, that is the one, is the body mind cleansing in the maternal stage. Whenever the paternal care stage comes in, you put the seed of Atmic in it. Then it will develop day by day and you will pick the fruit when it's ripe. That's sort of understanding I got it. Maybe that could be different from others, but that sort of understanding. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. It's about 447. I think it's a food for thought for everyone, I think. The reason I chose not to answer the question Sister Vasudha asked, Swami is going to be discussing it further, the coming paragraphs also. Number one. Number two, Swami has all, I think if those who attended Sandhya Nivarini would know, Swami has highlighted the type of qualities which soil the body, which soil the mind. He has already explained in Sandhya Nivarini. Maybe we can take it up for discussion next week, along with whatever else Swami is saying. Swami has told what are he said the sins we commit with the mouth, speech,
body and mind.
body and the mind. She has already covered that. Basically, Swami is saying we should start developing with more serious, and we should work very hard with not soiling the body and the mind. And I think in Dhyana Vahini, Swami is saying that bhakti sort of, is a bit more flexible. It will allow some, some mistakes, and it will pardon. But now we have come into Jnana and Vairagya. If you read the previous chapter, it's all about Vairagya, about detachment. And then now, Shiva is embodiment of detachment. There's no other way you can attain him. It is not I don't know whether you consider it a coincidence or not. Shivaratri is just down the corner. Next Thursday, Shivaratri. And so Swami wants us to all think about it, because Shiva can only be attained by total Vairagya. Total desirelessness is the only way to please the Lord. Swami always says Parvati thought, Shiva will marry because she is beautiful. She tried everything, and then she realized that Shiva cannot be won over by anything. And then she took up a very rigorous tapas, giving up everything in this world, detachment, and making herself so pure that Shiva will accept her. Not only accept, make her half of himself. So that is coming up Shivaratri. So it is, it's Swami has designed that, we come to this chapter. I think everyone can read also and understand how do we, Shivaratri means just evening, we just night we don't sleep, we don't eat, and we just sing some bhajans. It's much more serious than that, I think. So it is wonderful that Swami has brought us here at this point and mentioning Shiva just before 3-4 days before Shivaratri. So with those thoughts, I think we will close today. Lots of food for thought. We will think over, contemplate, and maybe pray to Shiva to, now that he's taking over on Shivaratri onwards into his care. We will close today's study circle with Samastaka and Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.